Should WWE come calling to you now with all the best offer in the world under your complete own circumstances, what would your response to them be?
Well, they already came to me. They have I guess, I never watched it, but somebody told me about it because I never even heard of it. They have a show called Confidential something or other.
Right.
And the guy, somebody by the name of Kelly, they tried to get a hold of me. They wanted me to do that story, and they said that I could be free to speak as I pleased about my feelings about wrestling and that. But I turned it down because I just don't want anything to do with wrestling anymore. I doubt very much if McMahon would ever contact me for anything, and I doubt very, very much if he did, which I don't believe he would, that there's any way that he could actually participate. I doubt it very, very much.
Can I take the next one?
How did you feel when Eddie Mansfield came out with his video in 1985 about the secrets of pro wrestling?
Who was it that came out with that?
Eddie Mansfield.
Eddie Mansfield? I never heard of it. I don't know that.
Alright,
I'm not
it
familiar with that.
was a video explaining the secrets of pro wrestling, completely breaking kayfabe.
Honestly, I never saw it. I never even heard of it till now. Was that a video that was seen on television or something that you had a sense for, or what?
I believe it was sold in stores.
No, I can't say anything about that because I never heard of it. I never saw it.
Since we just mentioned it, what is your opinion of how kayfabe has changed from the old days to now?
Well, it's a different world of wrestling. You have to understand that there's a big difference, despite what anybody wants to believe or not believe. It's a different world. In those days, you had, I don't know, I was going to say 30 territories. I don't know, maybe I'm exaggerating. What I mean by that is you had a lot of different territories. And throughout the United States, in Canada, and so forth. And so the difference was that guys in those days, the tough guys, they protected themselves. By protecting themselves, they didn't necessarily, I'm talking about the tough guys now who are in that position, they didn't necessarily bow to any promoter. If any promoter wanted them to do things that they didn't believe in or they felt it could be detrimental to their careers, they absolutely would refuse. And they say, no way. And if the promoter then wouldn't give in to them, would say you're through, they would many different promoters, other promotions that would welcome some top guys. And in many cases, they wouldn't even get rid of you because they felt that you were an asset to their organization. So my point is that it wasn't quite like it is now. I seen, well, I didn't see it, but I forget who told me. Somebody called me and said that there's a guy named Lesnar or Tesner or something.
Brock Lesnar, yeah.
Yeah, he wrestled Hulk Hogan, they told me, on a TV match, and he got Hulk Hogan in a bear hug, and he made Hulk Hogan pass out and give up or whatever he did, and left him laying there. Well, I don't know if Hogan had the choice or was that or you're down and you have no place else to go. But in the old days, if you tried to do that with some guys like Killer Kowalski, Don Leo Johnson, or whatever, they would tell the promoter what he could do, including myself. I have to. And if they said, well, then you're fired, great, I'll go with somebody else. So it was a completely different ballgame. Guys in those days didn't do business like these guys today. They would do business to a certain degree as far as return matches and whatever, but as long as they were done in ways that they felt it was not going to affect their status in a business.
Was you doing WCW referee spots in any way in rebellion on Vince?
Why did I do the refereeing? Is that what you're asking me?
Well, we're wondering if it was like a rebellion against Vince at all.
Was that, you mean, did I do that as a rebellion against Vince?
Yes.
No, I was in Buffalo, New York. They had a big wrestling show there, and my friend Elio Di Paolo had died in a car accident, and they were doing a special. I forget what they called it. They had a golf tournament and so forth, and then they were honoring Elio with this big show, and they had the WCW. They worked out a deal with the WCW wrestlers who put on also a wrestling show there. And I was there, and what happened was when they introduced me in the ring to say a few words on behalf of the show with in memory of Elio Di Paolo and that, I got a tremendous ovation. And when the people were running the show WCW saw that, I don't know who they talked to, and that, but next thing I know, I got a call, and they asked me if I would consider coming to WCW to referee, I forget, 3 or 4 matches. I really was reluctant, but then they had this fellow that I knew, Gary Juster, called me up. I'd known him for a number of years. He said to me, Bruno, he says, it's just refereeing, and you're refereeing 1 match each day, and it's always, what's his name, Macho Man against Ric Flair. And so he said, you know, that's all. You're not going to be involved in anything. You're just a referee that's 1 match. And I thought about it, and then finally agreed to do it. But no, it had nothing to do with McMahon or despite him or anything like that. It was just, I don't know, the offer was right. They paid me well, and I had nothing against WCW because I had never had any involvement with them in the past. And so just to referee these matches, at that time I agreed. But let me also tell you that later on they came back to me to do another time, and I turned that down because by that time things were going on with that WCW that I was turned off with too in wrestling altogether, and so I turned them down because there were a couple other times that they contacted me and I said no to.
2000, Mark Madden made a remark on WCW Monday Nitro. I'm not sure if you heard it or not. He said something to the effect of the late Bruno Sammartino, and an apology was issued the next week. Were you involved in him apologizing, and what is your opinion of a remark like that?
Well, absolutely, I was responsible for apologizing. I don't like the guy. He is. I've heard him talk not only as a wrestling commentator, but in his radio show. And the way he talked about wrestling, it was very painful to me that I thought, here's a guy that's talking like this about wrestling, and at the same time he's making real good money being involved in wrestling. And I thought, what a shame what this business has become, that a guy like this on a radio show, he can talk about how wrestlers put tapes, razor blades, how they do this. I mean, so explicit he was talking about the radio show and laughing about all this, and at the same time the next week he'd be commentating or whatever he did and be paid big money. I don't know what big money he was making. I don't know what his salary was, but I'm sure that WCW was paying him very well. And it just, I found it so appalling that the business that I had been in for all those years had come to that. Now, when he made those remarks that you referred to, you're darn right. When I heard about it, and then I wanted proof because I hadn't seen it, and somebody sent me a tape of him doing it, then I did. I contacted WCW, and I told them, I said, if you don't make some kind of an apology about that, I said, you will hear from my attorneys. I was angry. I was upset that they allowed this slime to do these kind of things. And so that's what brought on the apology, because I demanded it, or I had spoken to a lawyer, and he said I absolutely had ground to take action against them. So I said, all I want is to apologize for that, and then that will be the end of the story. And that's what happened.
Danny, would you like to take the next one?
You have your new website out, www.brunosammartino.com. How's that going, and what information can fans find out about you on that site?
Well, I understand, it's going well. The reason why I'm so excited about this thing is because, and I was talked into to get into this website, is because if you fellas know or don't know, I was honored in the town where I was born in Italy, and they brought me back, and which I was absolutely shocked, so pleasantly surprised, the kindness of these people. They built a 15-foot monument in my honor. They also built a sport facilities, which also bears my name. And then the home that my mom and dad built that I was born in, because we had no doctors or hospitals in those mountains where I came from. I was born in their home, so they put a big slab of marble on the side, and it says, in Italian, it says, Qui nasce Bruno Sammartino, which means this is where Bruno Sammartino was born. And they made a landmark thing out of it. So that whole was they made a big holiday out of it. There was a 40-piece band, and all the people from my town who were living in other parts of Italy or wherever, they all came back for the festivities. It was quite an impressive thing, and everything was put on film, and so yeah, I was very proud of that, and I thought that there would be some, but for all the fans I hope I still have out there, that they would be impressed with something like that. I hope so anyway. So that was one. And then these people came up with an idea to do another couple films, and one was called The Boys Are Back. That was interesting. interesting too, because we had a bunch of wrestlers. See, you asked me some questions a while back about this or that, and what this was good was because we had all these wrestlers, and they spoke of things that fans know nothing about that went on in the business. For example, like I spoke about when I was blackballed all over the country to where I had to wind up in Canada for 2 years and wrestle strictly out of Canada before I finally came back in New York. And some other guys spoke of different things that happened with them with different promoters. They all spoke of many different experiences that they had faced in the business, and it's all on film, and it's all for people to see. And I think that people might be a little surprised to find out that the main question those days was, hey, how much of it's real, is it fake? But they did not know how cruel some of these promoters could be, and some of the things that some of these guys had to go through. So there's that film of that.